Here we go again.
Back at it.
Back at it. Blow the whistle.
Another episode.
Another episode of BTW Interactive Podcast. We're talking sports and mental health. My name is Dee Brown.
Hey. Hey. You know what it is. It's your co-host here, Dame, not your average therapist. You know how we do it. Every week, we bringing that heat, we bringing that rawness.
Right, and we're on fire right now. This is one of the hottest podcasts.
Fellas,
how you doing, man? What's going on, David Tyree?
Listen, man, we here, brother.
Hey, man, I just want to say, the first time I'm gonna say it. The first of many, just thank you for coming on, man. Blow the whistle. This podcast is just about sports and mental health, man. Really just coming from a real human perspective, man, about, how life is, lifestyles, what we do to get in and out of situations, and celebrate, the things you've accomplished, the man you've become. And so, man, just want to just first of all, before we even get started, to thank you. Can't thank you enough for being a guest, man. I told the viewers, man, hey, we are looking forward to this story because this man has a great story, not just talking about the Giants and the Ravens and the whole experience in the National Football League, but what you were able to accomplish before and post career, man, is just admirable. And I was just want to say thank you again. Like I said, that's going to be the first of many, man. But want to thank you so much for being a guest.
Man, I'm honored, brother. I'm honored. When we're talking about life and things that actually have real substance, sports is kind of the linchpin for everybody and for most people in our world. But, we're talking about real life. No dress rehearsals. We only get one shot to do it. So to bring some context and clarity, it's gonna be a good one.
So we wanted to bring that aspect to it, just from your thought perspective. Underlining thoughts and feelings and behaviors, and what led you to become to the person that you are today, whether that's trials, tribulations, as well as triumphs. So we definitely want to take a deeper examination into the thought process of David Tyree and not just the football player. We always say we want to get up underneath the helmet. We want to get up underneath that helmet to kind of get the psychological, impact and effects of football and just family life, like Dee said, and just personal experience.
Before we do that, now I gotta shout you out for what you did with the cleats on. Now, I gotta do that now. So we of course we know this is Syracuse alum all day, Mr. Orange. Okay, 6th round pick for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
The word was, a special teams guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you took that word.
No question.
Took that word because that's any word we can get in the league, we're gonna take it. It made the best out of it and wound up being 2005 Pro Bowl selection.
Ooh.
All pro.
That's correct.
All pro. We go from the 6th round
to
being a special team, a guy that's selected to basically be a special teams guy and a backup receiver. And he takes that role, takes the most, because there's not a lot of opportunities in special teams. You get about 20 snaps a game.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to grade out 100, close to it. And he was a star. He made a 2005 Pro Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go from that to being, man, I just got to say it, one of the best performances in a Super Bowl.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I was sitting there watching that thing proud too, boy. I was like, whoa, that's my dog. That's my dog right there. I know you from 81. I don't know 85. So, that's fun. So, man, just to see you doing that, man, just kind of talk about that experience, man, coming from where you came from, as a pup at Cuse.
But obviously, man, big shouts to Cuse, right? That's the foundation, right? Just a little gritty kid from Essex County, New Jersey, go up to Syracuse, and automatically, when I get there, you were an established veteran a couple years ahead of me. Guys like Will Allen, Donovan McNabb last year. You come into this environment where now, you're just a little Rudy Poo. And the competitive nature in me and the quality of talent that we had is kind of what set the foundation for who I was to become. No one goes to Syracuse with the expectation of becoming a special teams player or a special teams maven, right? Everybody is going there to shoot their shot and be the guy. And I guess what created that mindset for me early on was, well, shoot, man, it's not my time to shine yet. We got Kevin Johnson, Quentin Spotwood. I'm getting a red shirt. How am I going to make an impact? How am I going to get on the field? How am I going to get my name in the paper? How am I going to contribute to the stat sheet? And so, you know, it wasn't above me. I mean, like, I get it. Meaning work, you know, everybody, and I think that was preached to some extent, accused. But at the same time, I embraced the opportunity to get on the field and make a play. And, you know, I didn't go to Q's with like NFL aspirations like that. It just, you know, when I had my son as a junior in college, I realized that there was an opportunity, and I had you know, to lay that road for him in a way where there was peace and provision was, you know, that's kind of what really inspired that next level. So, yeah, man, getting drafted, you know, I mean, I don't think I was on anybody's board going in my senior year. So, you know, to get drafted was just kind of out of this world too, you know, and of course the work was put in, but honestly, that's the foundation to the mentality, was just that, man, you got to adapt. When things don't work out your way, you know, I was willing to put all that on me. Say, man, listen, if I drop a ball, that's like dropping 3 balls, because you know what? I'm not the sexiest dude on the field. I'm not a quick twitch athlete. So I kind of charged myself, even when I had to overcome some of those, you know, everybody goes through a measure of politics, especially a collegiate and professional sport. So that's kind of the foundation of my mentality. I was the NFL Special Teams Rookie of the Year. I expected to be great as a special teamer because I had enough sweat equity through those four years of college. And I think it was the mentality more than anything that paved the way for, you know, some of those other areas of competitiveness where maybe they didn't necessarily see me as that receiver. And I don't think, you know, and if I could be honest with y'all real quick.
Absolutely, please do.
Let me just be honest. When you see some of the athletic ability in some of the players that we in Division I, and even especially in the pros, listen, man, I get it. Like I'm just a dog. I got a dog mentality. I would have loved to have the body of a Johnny Morant or the speed of a Kevin Johnson. It just didn't all work out to me. But I had the grit to be able to compete and play and bring some results at the next level.
Man, you found something. You didn't focus on what you didn't have, and you didn't go into envy. You found the value that you did have and the talent that you did have and perfected that craft. How about that?
Yeah.
Now, I definitely wanted to dig in because you talked about your perseverance, your motivation, your grind, your grit, that personality that you possess on the football field. And I wanted to talk about earlier years and how that was developed over time. Yeah. Like, where did you get that grit and that drive to say, you know what, I may not be the fastest, I may not be the shiftiest, but I do have something that some people may not have, and that's the ability to persevere and push through obstacles regardless. Where did you get that from?
Yeah, I think that it's amazing when you grab hold of something, right? Like, like words are so powerful. And I remember when I was, single digits as a young kid, my sister, she said, you can go up and get one of these scholarships. And I didn't even play any sports yet, but she's got a seed. Every words are like seeds, and she kind of planted a seed. So later on, a few years later down the road, I started getting involved in sports, and I was still young and dumb, and I was I had a street mentality. So I found tons of hiccups and speed bumps along the way. But after kind of getting arrested twice, silly arrest, but arrest nonetheless in 7th and 8th grade. That was the first time where I shifted my energy, shifted my decision making in a way where I focused on sports. And really, it was just, the amazing thing was another thought I had as a young kid was, it was a simple evaluation. Like, everybody wants to be somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And I noticed, like, man, there's nobody famous in my family. You hear a kid here, a kid there, they know this person. And I just aspired to do something great. And I latched hold of athletics in a way where I set my gaze on that scholarship. Once, freshman year, sophomore year, you get your first piece of letter, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is possible. So, you know, I think from there, it kind of narrowed the field, and I was willing to outwork the guy next to me. That's the bottom line. There was nothing, you know, of course I had ability. You know, you have to have a measure of ability. But that was it. There were so many more talented people, and most of us have similar stories. And that was the foundation for my mindset was, you know what, and I didn't know, you know, of course in high school, we're typically, you know, on that high level of athletic ability, but no, it was more talented guys. And immediately when I got to Syracuse, I was like, oh, okay, this is different out here. So the boys from Florida, I got to dig in.
Right.
It was those things early on that set the seed as far as, you know, what course I was going to take. And it's amazing how God kind of just begins to make some things happen for us.
But DT, man, you know, I heard you spoke of obviously some decision making, a lack of back, you know, in middle school. There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of mentors, there's a lot of youth sports kids, there's a lot of middle schoolers that are gonna watch this, man. You know, because some people don't live the same life, so gonna wonder like, what? You got arrested in middle school? Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
like, what was your mindset? Like, answer some of that, bro, because it's happening. It's happening even to this day.
Yeah. So, you know, I was fortunate to move to a really nice town. East Orange is rough and gritty over here in Essex County. I moved to Montclair when I was young, but that mentality of, you know, my family's mostly from Newark, East Orange, and some of the, more urban areas. And Montclair is a nice little suburb right outside. You know, we had enough fools over there too, but it was a much better environment. But I had that mentality. Honestly, it's really rooted out of acceptance, right? So I've grown up to really kind of get a general understanding of what every human is looking for, right? Is approval and acceptance. Yeah. You know, and so, you know, when I was young, you know, of course, the rap game and Onyx and, you know, everybody had their little cliques and gangs, and that was kind of how it started. And it was looking for that approval and acceptance amongst your peers, young teens. And it just happened, you know, like the first one, you know, was a joyriding incident where it's kind of like stolen car / joyriding.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't like a true to life stolen car.
Right.
Some girl that we knew, I don't know how exactly, but we ended up with the car, you know? So I'm in the car. That was the first incident. And 2 out of 4 of us got caught. I was one of the 2. And then the next year was another silly incident with the bus aide where, you know, trying to show off for my peers and end up with a lighter and a little bit of her little fur on the coat goes up, boom, somebody snitched on me. So it's kind of like goofy, dumb, dangerous, but all for the sake of acceptance and approval. But I'll be honest with you, my thinking was really jacked up, and even to the point where, you know, our rookie year, you know, you think that money answers the majority of your problems. I think that's most people. You know, it's amazing how the Bible says money answers all things, so it doesn't even contradict it. But, you know, obviously the love of money is what creates real issues. Well, I found that money didn't answer my problems. It actually intensified all the challenges that I had. I had access to more of my strongholds or more of my, you know, addictions or whatever. Money made me more attractive, so I attract more women. Money, and I liked alcohol, so I get more alcohol. So it just actually accelerated some of the evils. And guess what I do? You know, my character gets revealed. Next thing you know, the same weed I'm smoking now, I'm selling it. You know, because I'm gonna keep it real, dude. You know, so
please do, absolutely.
Trust me, the thinking making, it's like an logical conclusions. You know, but it's rooted in something that is very foundational. You know, approval, acceptance. And so even to the extent of my rookie year, you know, that was really the turning point for me when I got arrested on marijuana possession. And I had some decisions to make. I went from hometown hero to zero real fast. Right. And that was kind of that crossroad, road to Damascus experience where I had that moment where I had to decide who I was going to become. And by the grace of God, things worked out really well.
Talk about the you say I used to drink. Talk about the addiction piece. Yeah. How do we get out of that, bro? Because that's big, and alcohol is one of the biggest. You know, it's so crazy because our society separates drugs. Yeah. We don't want to say alcohol is a drug. Right. You know, it's so accessible. Everybody can kind of get a hold of it, and we don't want to just admit that it is. And so it's like, if I do alcohol and I have an alcohol problem, but you do heroin, I'm better than you.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and that's crazy. You know, but that's our mindset.
Yes.
Yep.
But you had to deal with it young, bro. Not even the teenagers. How do we come out of that? Because somebody's listening saying, "I want to come out of it, but I can't. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know what to turn. I don't have
how it started.
How it started."
Yeah.
Well said. You know, I talk about how it started for me, and I think it was definitely a part of my family dynamic. You know, grew up around it. I can remember my other sister was 9 years older, so you can imagine that dynamic. My mom, dad. I remember my dad coming to the house. My dad is a tremendous human being by a stretch, but that was one of his vices and go-tos. He would, I was young and not knowing what was going on, but grew up in a divorce home. He would come by drunk, not like violent, just drunk. You know, just actually sad that he was going through some pain. You know, and that was his coping mechanism. And so it was around me. I remember Private Stock, old beer, used to have little monograms. Like, he would give me a sip of his beer. You know, my sister drinking Cisco, they let me get a sip of Cisco. I'm a kid, I'm less than 10 years old. So seeds planted early, those seeds come to maturity, you become social, same old thing. And I think those deep fears, right? Like, we want to talk about those buzzwords, those fears, the rejections, those fears of not being accepted. Right. It's a way to be comfortable with yourself when you don't even like yourself, right? So it takes those inhibitors away, right? That frontal lobe piece. And so that was me, 14 years old, I'm drinking. Junior year, I drank a 40 ounce, a half a pint of Jack, and smoke a blunt every weekend. That's just my weekend gig, you know? So college, you already know, that's blackout territory. That was like every weekend, no question. And I was that dude. I was that messy drunk for the most part. Like, you know, so it was my
environment, bro, huh?
Yeah. It was definitely lifestyle. Nothing to be proud of, because I remember waking up in other people's like crib, like not knowing what happened the night before and actually being afraid to some extent. Like, you know, we laugh it off. We see each other the next day, study hall, and laugh it off. But, you know, there's a moment of sobriety where you're like, man, I'm out of control. And we don't know how to get it. So for me, the change and the shift, this is what I share with people when it comes to vices. Because, you know, some of us is sex, some of us is alcohol, some of us is marijuana, some of us, all kind of ways where we escape our fears and try to, you know, and I said, you can't get free from your friends. You only get free from your enemies, right? You can't get delivered from your friends. So if you like something, it's going to be real difficult to part with the things that we like, right? And earn those things.
I ain't tell you, hold on. I forgot to tell you.
We gotta rewind it.
The reason we got these, because when you mess around and throw a jewel out there, we gotta stop the play. We gotta stop the play. Ain't no flag. But we gotta replay that, because man, that's a jewel, man. You know, that really is. You know, you talking, you preaching to me, these two hosts right here, as well as the people that's watching. So give me that one more time.
It's us in this thing called life. And you know, I found myself a hypocrite in many different junctures along the way, right? I think if we just be honest, right? Like, and eventually you get sick and tired of being that constant, you know, like, and I tell people all the time, oftentimes we ascribe so much pain and hurt to what other people have done with it, but no one's let me down more than me, right? Like, so no one's ever let me down more than me, meaning like most of us have a general belief in ourselves and our ability to do something better in life, but you know, it's like the old New Year's resolution, you know, chucked it by 2 weeks down the road, right? So it's those moments, and I think when we're talking about things as serious as alcoholism and things as common as we made alcohol in our society, because you know how it is, you put money on it, you know, we got to find a way to to make this right. That's the prohibition days. You look at the history. Right. So it was a drug back then, it's a drug now. You know, of course, you know, there's a difference, just, you know, for me as a spiritual man, there's a difference between having a drink and being drunk. Right, so we get that. We can acknowledge that, but most people don't have the ability, whether it's generational, or whether it's I just lack self-control, or whether I want to be liked in this social environment, and that opens up the gateway to unnecessary challenges and vices.
Now we're talking about addiction, and me being a therapist, it's always kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg type thing. Did the addiction happen before the mental health piece of it, or was it more mental health and just the subconscious thoughts of wanting to be accepted, or the lack of self-esteem or confidence that you had that kind of pushed you into that substance abuse arena as far as addiction is concerned? So I wanted to talk about that psychiatric side, the mental health side, things that you struggled with in the past and how you were able to overcome those things.
Yeah, for me, I actually love, as a spiritual man, I love the merger of it all. I actually believe it's all kind of shaped together. I think, obviously, right. I think we're kind of brought into this world with some broken elements. Mm-hmm. But there's an opportunity depending on, and no one gets to choose where they start. That's the challenge, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you grow up in the world and you're without a father, doesn't mean that all is lost. It just means that there's something missing that is a real integral part of your growth and development as a child. Even more so, even as a man, I would go out on a ledge and say, because I believe that role really shapes a lot of identity and security, right? When it's properly stewarded, that role and what that person plays. And I think those are some of the things that really leave gates open for some of those things that we could be predisposed to, right? It's like, that generational things, there's, hereditary diseases. Well, once you know that you're predisposed to it, so you have to make this conscious decisions mm-hmm. about how to limit that opportunity that's open, right? So I think that all actually works together. And the spiritual man calls it a generational curse. The mental health person says it's a hereditary, predisposition. So it's all the same thing in my book. It's all one. And I think for me, all those things kind of come to the forefront as you're growing, you're learning, you're shaping, you're making decisions about who you are, what you believe, and what you become. And ultimately, you still are subject to some weaknesses, like your character development. You have some weak areas of your character. It might be discipline. You might be strong in who you are, but you might not be as disciplined, and you don't make your bed every day. You don't brush your teeth. Right. It's things like that. I think that as we grow and assess ourselves, we can really, be honest about who we are, and that takes some humility.
Man, and it's just, you said an important piece about how all this is kind of connected. It all kind of goes together. And I just wondered, listening to you and listening to the maturity. And man, I'm proud to hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute, man. But it's much love. But man, just proud to listen to you and talk. And you talk about how all this it just kind of goes together. How much of what you have been through as a juvenile, as a young adult, as a family man, as a spiritual man, how did that help you in your role as director of player development for the Giants and trying to help now guys who are coming up the same way that you came up?
Yeah, and I just transitioned recently out of that role, but I felt like there was very few as qualified as I am personally, primarily from an experiential level. I think, there's a lot of different ways to validate people, right? Academically, intellectually. And, of course I got my degree and I have a great resume that backs my legitimacy as a professional. But really, I endured, even at 30 something years old, transition out the league, I endured most of which, very little. Like, I've seen the highest of highs, I've seen the lowest of lows in that short amount of time from an experiential standpoint. I had the highest paid contract as a special teams player. Yet, truth be told is, once that contract was, like, when I leave the league, I ain't got $1 million in the bank, so like, it's like, so there's so many different dynamics, meaning I come into the league, get drafted, but I'm broke after my first year because I got arrested I blow my whole rookie year. So I've experienced it all. I've seen great instability. I've seen great stability. I've been married for 16 years. To one beautiful woman, 7 beautiful children. So I've kind of have a great balance in experience. I've had mental health challenges, even through my transition from my old life to my new life. Right. It revealed itself in a way where I'm like, shoot, I almost lost my mind, right? So people have great fears around, number one, confessing and acknowledging that, right? Like, I know that there was something spiritual behind it, but it still revealed itself in a psychosis type of way, right? Mm-hmm. So how do I express that? Meaning, like, I can identify it and help people get the resources that they need. Like, for some person, it might be a conversation around their growth of spirituality. For most of them, it might be saying, hey, and actually for all of them, we need to talk to the clinician about what the next steps are, understanding what's most important for these individuals as it relates to what they're tempted, challenged, or, really, working to overcome.
Yeah, I think that's a very important piece, and it's vital to player development and just a personal development, is that we address all aspects. And generally in sports, is more so the physical. But like a previous guest, and we've always said that, this sport is 80% mental, 20% physical. So if your mental is not right, that's definitely going to throw off that physical the expectations that you have to do your job, in this particular league and just sports in general. So I definitely love the emphasis on the mind, body, and soul, and being able to address those things. Just as many coaches as we have in the league, assistants coaches and position coaches, we need to have clinicians as well on all levels. Mm-hmm. From rookie development all the way up to your vets that's been in the league 15, 20 years, there's always a transition of some sort, whether that's, like you said, David, seeing the lowest of lows to the highs of highs, and being able to manage both of those. Because I know some people that get that hot head when you get that high. That's right. You feel like you're untouchable. Like nothing can happen to you. So you start to be more impulsive and less logical in a sense, because you just feel like you're on top of the world. So I definitely agree with that, and feel that it's important that all organizations, sports organizations, should have clinicians to address, that mental piece, and then, like you said, have that spiritual piece as well as trainers and everything else that we do have in the league currently. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely vital and important.
Yeah, we couldn't agree. Actually, this year was the year where they actually did ratify the CBA to ensure that there is a licensed clinician that is working with every team that is 100% designated. Most of them have always had some incapacity, especially working in concert with player development. But now they're actually mandated to have a role within the team with a minimal, hour requirement. So, progress is finally being made. These conversations have been had, but I think the severity of where we are from a mental health standpoint, and everybody, we're talking about the data with these, with these emerging younger generations. And I don't know if they're so, for lack of better, for simplicity of language, that much more wrecked than previous generations, or whether we're actually just doing more studies, Right. So I think, I know that younger kids are less risk averse as it relates to drugs and alcohol than my generation was, but obviously, their vices are now into the tech, and so there's different addictions. So. Right. It's very interesting how it all relates, but we definitely need the people in place to be in position to actually be able to hopefully recognize, but also have those conversations when people are crying out.
You're dropping a bunch of jewels here, and you're talking some really good stuff, man. And really just it's just great to just have men that look like yourself, and to be able to talk about some of these personal issues, not just being on the surface. Because at this point, we recognize that our platform is not just for us anymore. Our journey was simply our journey, but the platform at the end of this journey is for everybody else around us and those that we can touch. And bro, you're doing a great job of just being real, intimate and candid about, what it is from a mentality standpoint that you have went through. It hasn't always been roses. It hasn't always been bad either. You've accepted and appreciated the good things in life as well in that journey, right. As well as the times that you felt were low moments in your life. And that's a life thing. That's everybody does that. It's just not David Tyree. It's just not Damion. It's just not Dee. All three of us Dee.
Yeah, right.
But
Well, Dee,
you know, everybody kind of goes through that, man. You're a family guy. You've been married, and kudos. You're talking about 16 years. I don't have that many people in my phone. I can tell you right now who have been married 16 years. So that is a celebration in itself, man. And to be that guy now, you know, what does that look like? You know, because we got families watching too. You know what I'm saying? And how do you balance all of that? The mental struggles that I know you have physical struggles because we played on that same turf. So I know you got I know you got physical.
Yeah, you got them tendonitis kind of sneak up on you, boy.
So the family systems, bro. Like how, you know?
Yeah, but we're blessed, man. So you know, when my life really, you know, like you said, when I was born again at 24 years old, a lot of things foundationally came together. I wasn't raised with a faith at all, and I wasn't anti-faith at all either. But you know, because Christ became so real in my life, it aligned the majority of those things and gave me a value system that was higher than my own. And you know, it was a real thing for me. I tell people all the time, I don't do religion like that. Like, you know, like this thing was real. Like I'm totally invested. It's kind of like when somebody's committed to their sport. Like that's how I'm committed to Christ. So to answer the question, it's like when me and my wife were on one accord about it. You know, like so it creates great simplicity. You know, we're still human, of course. We're not talking about the fact that is there ever a disagreement? Of course. But we've never even had, by God's grace, a knockdown, drag-out argument, 16 years. So of marriage. Now, 5 years before that, our relationship was about as unstable as water, okay? You remember a few of them years. So
yeah.
That's the change for me. And then moving forward, that's kind of I believe that marriage in of itself is the bedrock of every human civilization. And because when you have a commitment in place, the value and the sanctity of marriage, and I know our society doesn't view it this way, it's based on the commitment and the sacrifice. So because I'm committed, I'm going to sacrifice my comforts, cares, and the selfish disposition that every human has.
Right.
Like, we just got to acknowledge it. Like, we're just some selfish, Rudy-Poo jokers, you know, like we want what we want. And marriage tests that, but it's also meant to be a forging flame about, you know, that offers me the opportunity to yield my own pleasure in an instance for the service of another. And if we could adopt that commitment and that sacrifice in our relationships, then everything around us begins to flourish. So I think that's where the stability of my children, we have 7 children from 18 down to 6. You know, 4 boys and 3 girls, twin girls in the middle. It's beautiful. It's work. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But honestly, like it's really our commitment, right? Because once you're committed to something, now you're just figuring out how you're gonna get it done, right? It's really not, once you see it as a non-negotiable and a no way out, it's really, okay, well, shoot, here's the obstacle, how we're gonna get this done. And I think that's where we're at. So we're seeing people who are less committed, you know, especially as it relates to marriage. People are less committed than ever. Adolescence has been extended, things of that nature we're seeing. And I think that's why we see a lot more instability, is because people don't have an anchor. They don't have an anchor in life that grounds us. And that comes primarily through significant relationships.
Wow.
An anchor in life that grounds us.
We're gonna get that across the screen.
If everyone heard that.
Yes.
If I have my anchor, you have your anchor.
Yeah.
Everybody has their anchor in life that grounds us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That means hell or high water, we have a foundation. We got something that we can work with.
Boom. We need it, man. Life is happening. So that's one of my things I share with people all the time. Life is happening to everybody, and no one hits harder than life, right? So hey, man, what you gonna do now that life is throwing big blows in this season?
Now what?
Now what, right?
Yeah.
And I think God intended it that way. I think part of those things that even there's some hard things that happen. There's some unexplainable things. You know, there's things I don't have answers for, yet they're happening, right? There's sufferings I don't have answers for, yet they're happening. And I think part of this is, you know, for us to humble ourselves and recognize our need, right? So even if you don't have a faith toward God in a particular way, then you're going to need somebody else, right? You're gonna, like, so it's not to say you can't get through, it's just that you're going to need something else that's stronger than just yourself to overcome.
Right.
Absolutely. Wow.
So again, we definitely wanted to talk about this business because it's still within wellness. It's still, something that everyone can benefit for. So I definitely want you to kind of plug that. Tell us what brought you to that particular business and where you see it going in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so last year we started the year with a 15-day cleanse, and so that was 5 days of food and 10 days of a juice cleanse. Wow. And so toward the end of it, ended up in Charlotte area and ended up, it was like the last day, and I didn't want to break it. I wanted to finish strong instead of going to get that big juicy steak from Capitol Grill. And my boy took me over to a little spot, and it was called Clean Juice in Concord Mills. And I just never seen a place aesthetically like it. It was an organic spot. Not that I had never been. Of course, who doesn't want to eat organic? I got 7 kids, so I was trying to temper that.
Right.
You get some milk is organic. You can get some, So. Right. But it was a great product. But they had a value system, that was really strong, and it was consistent with who I was. They weren't afraid to integrate their faith in their business model. And I admired the courage. Like business is business. So I'm not in, I'm down for business, but I can appreciate that because you know what? If you say Jesus, you're going to disqualify about half the people. So there's, just and for silly reasons, not. But ultimately, it was consistent with high standard, right? And high quality will cost you, right? That's kind of the whole idea. If you're gonna have to make the sacrifices to get what's best, right? I believe that about life in general, right? And I think when it comes to our bodies and our wellness, we don't give it as much attention. We beat these bodies up physically, and we're in the GMO age, and this, it is what it is. I appreciate the GMO, but I don't want no seeds in my watermelon and grape, but at the same time, I recognize that it's still inferior, right? So that I got to be honest. And it was something that, I realized from building a legacy, my family could be a part of this. Even if it was 1 store, hopefully it becomes 3 stores, 5 stores, 10 stores. We'll see where we go. But the concept in of itself was about wellness and offering a product that was going to add value to people's lives. And that I could buy into. And so we just went for it, man. So, with God's grace, been a couple months. We've been open in Morristown, Clean Juice Morristown, first location in Jersey, and it's been well.
Good, man. Good. Wow. But man, listen here, man. We don't want to. I could talk to you for days, man, because you got such a great story, and we got some reminiscing to do. But I won't take up your time, man. But I so much appreciate again, bro. Just it's in the midst of a big schedule. You got a big family. You opening up a new spot. You still, throwing fires into your 16-year marriage. So that's a busy guy, man. But I just want to thank you so much, man, for your heart, for your passion and helping others, man, for being dedicated to your faith and using it as a platform to influence those who are walking the same paths, and even those who don't, but may at some point in their life, man. That's big. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of us black men can't do that. We can't open up like this to each other, and that's a hell of a thing that we gotta get over at some point. But man, listen, like I said, I can talk to you for days. But one thing I gotta tell you before we go,
give me some.
The fans want to know about the catch. They want to know about the catch. Because I was scared. Because old Rodney Harris, he pretty strong. He's known as old, kind of a little, dirty, under the belt type of guy. So I knew something was going to happen to get it up out of there. But man, when you stuck that thing on your helmet, just talk to me about it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give y'all the behind the scenes scoop, and of course we'll talk about it. Because I was about to say, man, we ain't even talking about the catch yet. So,
oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
So the cool thing about it, and obviously I shared my story years ago, everything leading up to the catch in the book, more than just the catch. So it's all in there. But I give you the coolest thing about this is that, man, like you talk about promise, and I think that every person is born into this world with promise. Of course, everybody doesn't understand and perceive that promise. They use all kind of buzzwords. Like, I believe that and greatness or success is subjective, meaning like, you can find great satisfaction doing all kinds of different things. But
Right.
so I say greatness, man, you got to tell people, man, you were born for great things. And that, so short story, this was obviously large scale, but the night before the game, one of my teammates, I was close with his mom. She was spiritual. She pastor in Jacksonville. We praying for just a blessing, you need that blessing, boy. And boy, that prayer just shifted. She's praying for the twins. My wife was 8 months pregnant with our twins, and praying just, and then it shifted. She said, David, God is quickening your feet. He's giving you hinds feet like the feet of a deer to jump high. I'm like, okay, bet. And then she said, the Lord is putting spiritual glue on your hands. All right. And then the last thing she said to me, God is going to give you the big play. Okay, so I'm dialed in. I believe God. Believe God can do what He wants, how He wants, whatever He wants.
Yeah.
And now when she said God's gonna give you the big play, I'm literally thinking, man, so I got the greatest catch in Super Bowl history and the most forgotten touchdown in Super Bowl history, right? So,
Wow.
But that play that I scored the touchdown on, when she said the big play, I'm like, boom. If they call this, I score a touchdown, it's over. And so I scored a touchdown, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's out of control. Here we go. And obviously that wasn't it, right? Ephesians 3:20, God can do exceedingly above and beyond all that one could ask or think or even imagine. And so, and the last thing, her husband actually got on the line and said, the world will no longer remember you as a special teams player, but as a wide receiver. So all this was in the heart of God. It had been expressed to me the night before the game, not having a clue. So, that's the beauty of it. And, the joy that it brings, whether it's just a good old sports fan, whether it's the New York Giant fan base where tears. I've had some crazy stories, as you can imagine. People who done tore their daggone ACL, jumped so high. And so I'm talking about some stories, man.
I think I had to put on a brace and at least some ice for about 20 minutes. I jumped too.
Well, listen, brother, that's the love. That's that small road love, and that's that.
That's right.
So, but yeah, man. So just to be in position to be a part of something significant, right? To play a part in a greater story is really what means the most to me. The fact that God was involved in my life in a very intimate way, to the point where the world, I could be a part of the narrative. And I'll finish it up with this. It might have been my senior year at Syracuse, and there was some interview, and I remember, I'm on special teams, so I'm trying to block every point. I might still be the leader in block punts, whatever. I don't know, but
you are.
So I ended up hitting the punter in one game, and this dude, he's asking me like, well, he asked me about it. Obviously, it's a bonehead play, and I got around to it. I said, listen, I'm not playing this game to be average, man. I'm trying to. And I said, I want to be remembered. And I remember, and the headline probably said something similar. Like, I'm playing this game to make an impact. And it's when I think about that and I move forward and I fast forward this life into the catch, God fulfilled everything in my heart's desire as relates to the game with one moment. And so for me, it was a gift for the whole, obviously being a part of the legacy of the Giants and NFL history. You can't prepare for that,
Right. Yeah.
Receive gifts, you receive gifts, but I try to have the humility to give honor where the honor's due. That's right. And that's to my teammates as well as to God.
Wow. Well, we definitely appreciate everything that you've done throughout your career and what you've done post-career, what you've given us today here on this show, your vulnerability, your transparency, all that. And like Dee said, we developed this platform to allow those individuals that we often see as like, just big and buff and just strong physically, to be able to be strong mentally and express those weaknesses that we all have. That we're always working through on a daily basis. So I definitely salute to you, with everything that you have going on, family, God, business, everything, continued blessings on that, for sure. But, this is what we do here on Blow the Whistle.
What it's about, man.
We're blowing the whistle on
That's
everything.
what it's about, man. I say it all the time. If one person emails us and says, this saved my life, we've done it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
you sharing with us as a part of that, bro. So I appreciate it, man. great, good luck in all your business endeavors, and continue to be walking strong in your spiritual walk, man. And as a family guy, I have nothing but the highest expectations. You'll continue to do the same thing you've been doing, man. And
so powerful, so powerful. Listen, I want to encourage you guys, man, for what you guys are doing is extremely powerful. And just receive it as seed work, man. Everything that we're doing is seed work, and it's gonna bring forth fruit in the lives of many, man. So thank you for allowing me to get involved with this. This is a no-brainer. Anything I can do to continue to advance the cause and get the word out there, man. Y'all just dropped me a line. Y'all keep doing great things, blowing the whistle, and y'all headed for great things.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
Where's the clean juice at again?
Yeah.
Morristown, Jersey, 68 South Street. Come check us out right downtown Morristown. Certified USDA organic, extremely high quality product, cold pressed juice, in-house, bottled in-house, labeled in-house, made with love, baby. We got you.
And you've been taking commercial acting lessons too. That's a good one.
Bro, you know, I should have went for marketing when I was with Big.
That's right.
Yes. That's a light right there. Let's catch that.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah,
Love you, man. Be easy.
Yes, all love.
Great done, man. You have a wonderful day.
All right, man.
All right, man. So make sure you follow us. Instagram, Blow the Whistle _ Make sure you check out YouTube, Blow the Whistle Podcast. Just Google it. It's all there. We on Google now.
Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
That's what we do. We want that.
Stop playing.
Man, hey, we on fire right now.
We're on fire.